Does your brain ever feel like it has a dozen tabs open at once? That nagging feeling of unfinished tasks that follows you even when you're trying to sleep? Or maybe you constantly think about the ending of a drama you stopped watching midway?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a mental buzzing noise I just can't turn off. That project I need to start, the email I forgot to send, the laundry that's sitting in the machine. My to-do list feels like a mental prison sometimes. It's honestly exhausting.
Well, what if I told you that mental noise has a name and there's a scientifically proven way to silence it without even finishing the task?
Wait, seriously? Silence the noise without doing the work? Okay, you have my full attention. Welcome everyone to Sunny English Bite, the podcast where we boost your English and your life skills. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sunny. Today, we're diving into the psychology of why our brains get stuck on unfinished business. It's called the Zeigarnik Effect. Let's get right into Chapter 1, the restaurant discovery.
A restaurant discovery? Now I'm hungry and curious. How does a restaurant explain my stressful to-do list?
The story begins in the 1920s in a busy Berlin restaurant. A psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik noticed something fascinating about the waiters. They could perfectly remember incredibly complex orders for multiple tables without writing anything down, but only until the bill was paid.
So they had super memory, but only temporarily. What happened after the customers paid?
Oof! The moment the bill was settled, the waiters completely forgot the order. Their brains kept the information active only while the task was incomplete.
Zeigarnik was so intrigued that she went back to her lab and tested this. She gave adults and kids various tasks like stringing beads or solving puzzles.
Okay, sounds like fun experiments.
But here's the catch. She intentionally interrupted them halfway through some of the tasks.
Ugh, that is cruel. I hate being stopped right in the middle of a puzzle. It drives me crazy.
Exactly, and that frustration is the point. When she tested their memory later, participants were almost 90% more likely to remember the tasks they were interrupted on compared to the ones they actually completed.
That's fascinating. So that's why I keep thinking about that half-finished spreadsheet but can't remember the 10-page report I successfully completed yesterday.
Precisely. But why does our brain torture us like this? That brings us to Chapter 2, the mental rubber band and the survival instinct.
Survival instinct? Are you saying my unfinished spreadsheet is a matter of life and death to my brain?
In a way, yes. Think about our ancient ancestors. If they were hunting a wild boar or gathering berries and just decided to stop halfway and take a nap, they wouldn't survive. Our brains evolved to crave completion. So Zeigarnik's supervisor, a brilliant psychologist named Kurt Lewin, proposed his field theory. He suggested that starting a task creates a specific mental tension.
So that tension is like a stretched rubber band in my head, constantly pulling me back to the task.
Spot on. This internal alarm clock keeps ringing until the task is done. It's actually the same trick used in entertainment today. Think about Netflix shows. The cliffhanger ending is a Zeigarnik effect in action. Remember the ending of Squid Game Season 1, when Sung Gi-hoon turns around instead of getting on the plane?
Oh my gosh, yes, it drove everyone crazy. That unresolved ending made us desperately wait for the next season. It's an itch you can't scratch.
Exactly. And this perfectly aligns with productivity expert David Allen's famous book, Getting Things Done, or GTD. He calls these unfinished tasks open loops. Every promise you make, every project you start, every text you don't reply to is an open loop circling in your brain, draining your cognitive energy. Wow, so my brain isn't broken, it's just trying to keep track of way too many open loops. But Sunny, this sounds terrible. Do I have to become a productivity robot and finish everything instantly to get some peace?
Not at all. And here comes the plot twist in Chapter 3, The Cure. A 2011 study by psychologists Roy Baumeister and E.J. Masick revealed an amazing secret. They found that the Zeigarnik effect isn't really demanding you to finish the task immediately. It just wants a plan.
Just a plan? That seems way too simple. What did they actually do in the study?
They gave participants a task, interrupted them, and then gave them a reading test. The interrupted people couldn't focus on reading at all. Their brains were stuck on the first task, suffering from severe cognitive load. But
But what? Tell me the magic trick.
When participants simply wrote down a specific plan on when, where, and how they would finish that interrupted task, those intrusive, stressful thoughts completely disappeared. Their performance on the reading test went back to normal. By externalizing those open loops into a trusted system, like a planner or an app, your brain says, okay, we have a concrete plan. I can let this go.
So writing it down literally tricks your brain into relaxing? That is an absolute game changer. How do we apply this in our daily lives?
That brings us to Chapter 4, Action Plans combined with everyone's favorite segment. It's time for our English Bite. I have 5 actionable tips for you today to master the Zeigarnik Effect, paired with key English expressions. Alex, are you ready?
I am born ready. My notebook is open. Let's do this.
Tip number 1, just start. Even if it's for just 5 minutes, you need to get the ball rolling. This means to start a process or activity to break the initial friction.
Ah, got it. I have a huge presentation to prepare, but I'll feel better once I just get the ball rolling by opening PowerPoint.
Perfect. Once you get the ball rolling, the mental tension begins, but in a motivating way. Tip number 2, break it down. Huge tasks cause panic. You need to slice them into bite-sized pieces, meaning small, manageable parts.
Like eating an elephant one bite at a time. Instead of writing the whole 50-page report today, I'll break it into bite-sized pieces and just write the introduction.
Excellent. Tip number 3, write it down. This is where we can positively use the phrase out of sight, out of mind. Usually it means if you don't see something, you forget about it in a bad way. But here, if you write your tasks in a trusted planner, they are transferred out of your mind onto paper, relieving that brain tension.
Oh, I love that positive twist. I wrote all my weekend chores in my notebook. Now they're out of sight, out of mind, and I can finally relax.
Exactly. You gave your brain permission to forget. Tip number 4, strategic interruptions. If you are stuck on a problem, step away and take a mental break. Give your conscious mind a rest while your subconscious works on the problem.
This is like when you get the best ideas in the shower. I've been staring at this code for 3 hours. I need to step outside, get some coffee, and take a mental break.
Yes, let the Zeigarnik Effect work for you in the background. And the final tip, review and plan. Look at your unfinished tasks at the end of the day and plan for tomorrow to tie up loose ends. This means completing the final unresolved details of a project.
I definitely need this for my evening routine. Before I log off for the day, I'll send these last 2 emails to tie up loose ends. This is so incredibly practical, Sunny.
I'm glad you think so. Let's do a quick recap of today's journey. The Zeigarnik Effect is that mental tension causing unfinished tasks to haunt us. It's an ancient survival mechanism, and it creates open loops in our heads.
But we learned that we don't have to finish everything to feel peace. By getting the ball rolling, breaking tasks into bite-sized pieces, getting them out of sight and out of mind onto paper, taking a mental break, and planning to tie up loose ends, we can completely beat the stress.
Thought on, Alex. It's all about giving your brain a promise that it trusts. Once you write it down and make a plan, your brain can finally relax. Your mind is like a busy restaurant kitchen, yes, but you are the head chef now.
I feel so much lighter already. I'm going to make a plan for my messy garage the moment we finish recording.
I love that. To all our Sunnies listening, pick one small area of your life today and try making a written plan for an unfinished task. Let us know how it changes your stress levels in the comments.
Thanks for tuning in to Sunny English Bite. We'll be back next week with more mind-blowing psychology and English tips.
Until next time, make good enough choices and stay sunny.